Hi, I'm Benj. This is Doing Outdoors, and we're at home today. We're in our garden and we've been scrumping for apples. It's now the middle of October, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of apples falling off trees. So we've been up to our local country park and they've planted an absolute load of fruit trees, and it doesn't seem that they've collected any of the fruit, and it's all just laying on the grass in front of the trees. So we've been up there just now. We've filled 3 bags of apples, and to be honest with you, that's probably only 10% of what was on the floor. We might make another trip. What I had planned on doing was taking all the apples out of our orchard. We've got a few, probably enough to fill 1 bag, but because we've found all these off the floor, what I'll do with ours that are in the garden is probably wrap them and try and store them for the winter. But what we're going to do is press all these to get the juice. I'm going to make some cider with some of the juice, and everybody else from the family will drink the rest as apple juice. But the press that we're using is the Vigo. We've got a Vigo press and a Vigo scratter. Now, we've used this once before, probably 3 years ago. That was the last time we were able to get our hands on enough apples to go through this process. But this year, if you've got any fruit trees near you, you'll know that it's been a bumper season for apple trees. So there's been a lot of apples. We've got a couple of bags. The process that we go through is we've got a bucket of water. We'll dump the apples in there. Hopefully that'll wash all the nasties off. Then we'll scrap them straight into the press. We have a liner that goes inside the press. So that'll line the inside of the press. We'll scrap the apples directly into that. There's enough material left on this that will fold over the top before we start to press, and that just stops any pieces of apple coming through and into your juice. And what we've got is the apple press screwed down to a small pallet. Ideally, we need a room dedicated to mount this press, because as you're trying to put all your force into it to press all the juice out of the apples, the press does like to spin around. So I have screwed it down to this pallet with the idea that me and probably one other could stand on the other part of the pallet, hopefully stopping it from spinning. And I've just got some cardboard washers on the screws just to try and save the paint chipping off the cast iron press. So there's the press all ready to take some apples and get them mashed into that bag that's inside. The scratter's on top, and you can just see the claws inside, how vicious that is. You don't want to get your hand trapped in that, but it absolutely makes mincemeat of these apples, as you'd expect. But I just want to say, this Vigo apple press in combo with this scratter, it's a right good bit of kit. Once that barrel is fully loaded with broken down pieces of apple, you probably get about 2 litres, maybe 2.5 litres of juice once you've pressed it. So it's not bad. It's no industrial scale item, but for small time apple pressers like myself, it's perfect for the job. We've got a bucket of water to wash the apples in right next door. All we need now is a couple of helpers and we'll get pressing. Give them a wash. Now they're ready for scratting. Yeah, go on, a couple. That's it. Hold it there a minute. So that's one full bag. Fold the top over. Clamp the top. Get ready to press. Just make sure that's in line. In the centre. That's good.
Mum, there's barely anyone sunken at the bottom because if I just like.
So Charles just started pressing, and already the juice is running. Oh, it's flowing now.
I'm going to try and make sure it stays. Look at it.
Ready?
Dad,
Just keep an eye on your jug. You don't want to be losing any juice.
No.
What do you want to try some?
Mum.
Belle's having first sample.
Still to Charlie to try. I'm going to pour this out quick.
Your jug's
Oh, it's so nice.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Tastes like fresh apple juice. There you go, Belle.
Oh,
Is
It's
it
really
sweet?
sweet. Yeah.
oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's extremely sweet.
Anyways, apple juice is actually my favourite drink.
It is now. As you can see, that scratter really makes mincemeat of those apples, which is what you'd expect from an apple scratter. We've just done our first press. We've had just under 3 litres of juice out of that, and it was about a third of one of these bags, so hopefully we're going to get 9 litres of juice out of each bag, which will give us 27 litres off these 3. I'm now thinking that I should go back to where I found all these apples and tap into the other 90% that's knocking about on the floor. Make good use of them. Charles got a bag now, and what we're going to put in there is these pressed apple pieces, and they'll go up to the farm. I'm going to give some to my compost heaps to try and make some good compost, and the rest will go to the pigs, and they'll absolutely love that. Right, so me and Charles have been pressing these apples now for about 3 hours. We've managed to get through 2 of the bags, 2 out of the 3, but we are fast losing light. We are actually up to 20 litres in my brewing bucket. We've got 1.5 litres in the house, chilling in the fridge, and we're just draining the last part of the last batch we've pressed. So I think it's a good time to call it a day. Tomorrow, weather permitting, we'll get back out, press that other bag. We're getting on average 10 litres per bag, which is what I expected. We've had a mixture of apples, we've had a lot of dessert eating apples, but just to try and bring that sweetness down, we've put in a few crab apples and some cooking apples. So 20 litres, I'm going to have that for brewing my cider tonight. I say everyone else has got 1.5 litres to drink tonight. Tomorrow we'll press the other bag, should get about 9 or 10 litres, it's a slightly smaller bag, and then we'll probably pasteurise that to keep that for drinking for the rest of the winter, or for the next week probably. And there's the proof, bang on 20 litres. Look at that, that is the good stuff. So all I need to do now is fit an airlock on that, and there's enough sugar and natural yeast for that to ferment on its own. We have got just a tiny little more to add. The last bits are draining off, but now I need to get the hose pipe out and give this a wash. And this is the massive bag of pulp we've been left with from the 2 bags that we've pressed. That'll go down, feed the pigs, and give my compost bin something to eat. And that's the last bag. That's bag number 3 that we've still got to press. There's the fruits of our labour. About 3 hours graft, and we've got about 23 litres of apple juice, and still 1 bag to go. So while I make Charlie clean up this mess that he's made, I'll see you tomorrow for some more pressing. So today me and Joel finally got back out, squeezed the rest of those apples. We've ended up with another 10 litres, and what we've got are some Kilner glass 1 litre bottles that we're going to put the apple juice in, and then I'm going to pasteurise that so it can keep on the shelf, not need to be refrigerated or frozen. If it's pasteurised correctly, it can last up to 2 years. But to do this, I've lit the Essie. It's the first time I've lit the Essie this year. We're now 20th of October and it's still quite fair outside. But I cleaned it all out today, give it a thorough scrubbing, all on the inside, swept the chimney and lit it about 4 or 5 hours ago. But whilst it's running, I'm making it work for me. In the oven, I've got the glass Kilner jars drying after being washed, and also that will sterilise them. And I've got on one of the hot plates a pan of water, which is what I'm going to pasteurise the apple juice in. And next to that, I've got my wax that I've been collecting all year, and that's going to make my fire lighters. So we've got 4 bottles of the apple juice sat in a pan of water. It's not quite hot enough on this simmering pan side, and we've got a thermometer in one of the bottles. To get these pasteurised, they need to be between 72 and 75 Celsius and stay there for 25 minutes. Once the wax is totally melted, which is not far off, I'll move this big pan over to the hot side. That should get it up to temperature. But this Essie really does do some work, and all I've put on it so far is these pieces here. It's got 3 on at the minute. It had 4 on earlier that lasted about 3 hours. It's not taking much fuel. I've got it on quite a slow burn, but it's doing a great job, and it's absolutely red hot in here. So I moved the bottles of apple juice onto the hot plate, or the hot side of the hot plate. We're now sitting about 72.5, which is perfect. Started the timer. I want to be in that vicinity, just under 75 if I can, for the next 25 minutes. The wax melted. I've been over and soaked some cotton wool for the fire starters. I've just brought it back over to melt it a bit more. I left it a while whilst I was bottling this apple juice. But the Essie, it's earning its keep today. It's also drying all the washing at the same time. It's been absolutely chucking it down here yesterday and today. So no tumble dryer in this house, not when you've got an Essie. So after a long night pasteurising, we have 8 litres of properly pasteurised apple juice. We've got 2 bottles chilling in the fridge, and we've also got 20 litres of apple juice fermenting for cider. But that's all we've got time for on this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.